Now, we talk a lot about the benefits of generative AI, but it is very much a double-edged sword. We can operate and focus on, how do we automate the mundane task? How do we enhance creativity? How do we enable personalized customer experiences with generative AI? But we have to be vigilant about data privacy, especially given the vast amounts of sensitive data that these systems require for training. There is also the potential for job displacement, although we generally speaking, we try to focus more on job optimization and job satisfaction as benefits of generative AI. But there are some ethical implications of automating roles that are traditionally performed by humans. The other key that we want to point out is really the risk of biased outputs and ethical missteps. So although we focus on pursuing efficiencies and really looking at what are the competitive advantages that are going to generative AI, we also have to implement rigorous safeguards, and this helps us to manage these risks. So this is really kind of that dual-edged nature of generative AI. It really necessitates a balanced approach. So you have to embrace innovation, but you also have to prioritize ethical and secure AI practices. Now, when we think about those risks that are associated with AI, and specifically generative AI, security is a paramount concern, and the risks are multifaceted. We can have data breaches if sensitive training data is improperly secured. That potentially leads to privacy violations and misuse of the data. We can potentially run into the theft of AI models, and that could be whether through someone is reverse engineering the model or other means. It does pose a significant threat to intellectual property. And unfortunately, that would allow competitors or malicious actors to either replicate or misuse proprietary systems. There also is a concern around adversarial attacks, and this is where inputs are manipulated to deceive the generative AI into making incorrect or harmful decisions, which is a very serious threat. And those attacks can undermine the reliability and integrity of the AI systems. It also can result in reputational risk to your firm, and that can have potentially devastating consequences. So it's crucial that when we talk about these systems and these advanced security measures, such as encryption, access controls, regular model verification, these are all ways that we can mitigate risk and protect our generative AI assets from both internal and external threats. Now, let's transition to reflect on the potential security risks that are related to the use of generative AI. When we talk about intellectual property specifically, so protecting intellectual property that is both generated and utilized by generative AI is not just a legal or business concern, it is a security imperative. There are multiple layers of defense that we have to employ in order to protect our systems as we start on this generative AI journey. So contractual agreements is a great way to establish clear terms of use for generative AI and also confidentiality. And this is going to help your firm limit unauthorized access and distribution of sensitive data and models. Another methodology we can use is technical obfuscation. This is kind of the techniques that you can use, like data masking, you can use code obfuscation, and this adds kind of that extra layer of protection, which makes it more difficult for unauthorized parties to understand or even misuse your generative AI models. And another component we can use is really looking at what cybersecurity measures do we have in place today. How do we need to modify and adapt those measures? And it can be everything from threat monitoring to incident response plans, but we need to adapt those existing cybersecurity measures to embrace the journey that we go on with generative AI to continue to detect and mitigate attacks in real time without having a gap as we transition to these new technologies. And the last thing I'll mention is also regulatory compliance. We have existing protocols in place. Everyone is familiar with GDPR. But we need to make sure that as we engineer these generative AI systems, that we adhere to data protection laws, existing data protection laws. These are a non-negotiable in terms of safeguarding your generative AI assets. And the potential for legal action typically does serve as a deterrent, but think of legal action as your last resort. Our focus should really be on prevention through this robust, multifaceted protection strategy implemented in a variety of different ways across your security landscape.